kept saying Google Stadia. But
Stadia. Stratus. I drive a Dodge Stratus.
I drive a Dodge Stratus. I live in a van. Actually, does he have 2 cars then?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's set.
You know, I never really thought about that. The idea that, like, the man who lives down by the river, like, he also has a Dodge Stratus. Like, how would that work out? Does he drive the van or does he drive the Dodge Stratus?
I mean, he lives in the van. He drives the Dodge Stratus. That's like his escape.
What if he lives in the Dodge Stratus and drives the van?
Less comfortable.
Just to showcase
Just to
how
pick up the
terrible
ladies.
his living
Right,
is.
that's true. He's looking for pity vote.
Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome back to our E3 coverage. My name is Nick, this is the Tin Man, and today we're talking about Google Stadia.
Google Stadia. Boy, they were, I don't know, man. I think this is the future, whether we want it or not. Because Google is up in everything. They will make you buy one.
You will hook Google up to your veins.
It will be right intravenous.
They could have picked a little bit better name, though.
I agree. I agree.
When they were testing Google Stadia out and they called it Project Stream, like,
too generic.
I could buy Project Stream, but Google Stadia, it sounds less like a name and more like a code word. The thing is, though, they already have Google Play.
Right. They should have just gone with that. That was good enough.
Like just expand Google Play to include streaming.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand they're trying to build community here. They're trying to have their own Netflix. They're trying to have, I think the technology's there in terms of the really fast upload speeds, but you know, it's going to count out a lot of people who don't have that high-end internet, which I think is not so good, but maybe they are just going for the urban, you know, wealthier, you know, casual gamer that they can just offer Destiny 2 to play for, what, $129 or something, plus $15 a month?
Well, not necessarily. The $130, that's for the
initial controller.
like, if you the founders package. Right. So that gives you a controller, 3-month Stadia pass, the Studio Pro Stadia Founder Edition.
We gotta simplify this stuff.
I guess that's a good question. Like, who is this for? Because you look at some of the games that are on it already. Aside from Guilt, which looks like an interesting game as is, games like Baldur's Gate 3, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Division 2, Destiny 2, these are all, well, I guess except for the first two, these are all going to be on consoles.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, even Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be on consoles because their previous games were. So, who is this for? And I would imagine this is largely for people who travel a lot. Yeah,
the traveling ultra-wealthy businessman. That's a guy that exists. He's got time to play games. He's got time to play Baldur's Gate 3. He's been waiting 20 years for Baldur's Gate 3.
That is an ultra-specific market.
Niche market, if ever there was one.
But there's also people who might not have that up-and-running console, that great PC.
That's true. Who wants to buy a new console every 4 years at this point?
And if all you need to do is download Chrome in order to play a game.
That is kind of awesome, actually. The fact that they're getting games just run in Chrome browser, like, that's kind of incredible, if that's what they're touting.
And it does work.
Yeah.
I tested out I happened to be in the Project Stream test thing, and I played, that's how I initially played Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah. Before
getting hooked on it for like half a year now. Yeah, it's been long. But it worked. Because
you didn't buy that DLC to expedite your grind, is that why?
I did buy the DLC
Okay.
No. Okay, no, you're referring to like the so Assassin's Creed Odyssey has like the store where you can buy items.
Right.
I didn't buy any of that.
Okay.
But there is story DLC.
Yeah.
So they eventually released story DLC, so I bought that so I can extend the amount of time I played.
That's right.
But when I played it on Google Stream, there wasn't a single point in which I lost connection.
Okay. The fidelity's really good.
There were points where like the connection became a bit iffy, and then things got a little bit on the blurry side for a little bit. But that's to be expected for any streaming thing. And it's not like Google Stadia is the first streaming service.
I had Sega Genesis channel back in the day, and that was way ahead of its time and
really
incredible.
Oh,
yep.
That's cool.
It was the coolest because every month they would update like your 30 or 40 Genesis games, and it was just the internet barely existed. This was like 1995, 96 probably, and
that would have probably been before I even got AOL.
Yeah, definitely before I had internet, and yeah, it was good times. As a Genesis hardcore kid, that was the best era of it. Because I have hundreds of Genesis games, and even I didn't buy every ridiculous game that came out, but it was a cool way to try them out. If nothing else, just a soda cat.
And since then, there have been other experiments, and most notably On Live, which went for a while, failed. Currently, there's PlayStation Now is probably the big streaming service for video games. So, like with Google Stadia is just essentially being competition on the table.
Yeah, but you use your Vita, right? Like you use PlayStation Now?
I tried it out, but I find that the way I play video games these days makes things kind of limited.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I never like to play on the go. Like the Switch is fine, but I never could understand taking a complex console game on like a cell phone screen. Although things seem to be moving that direction. Also,
very much so, because with Google Stadia, you could take your phone, strap a controller to it, and like assuming you have a Pixel,
right?
Assuming you have a
really
Google
nice
phone,
yeah.
As long as you buy their proprietary hardware and their proprietary software, you can access the video games.
I'll stick with my PlayStation for now. You haven't won me over yet, Stadia. Let me know when you have some really interesting first-party stuff. Surely you have the money to develop it, and I think it'll be interesting if they get to that point.
Until then, you have people who actually have decent PCs.
Sure.
You got the PC Gaming Show. I don't know how many of these there have been. I want to say the PC Gaming Show is still fairly new, run by PC Gamer, which is kind of interesting as opposed to being run by a specific publisher.
Sure.
Now this is a show being sponsored by different publishers. And this, I feel, is closer to let's do as many announcements as we can. Let's interview some developers as much as we can.
I like that stuff. This is what I enjoy about E3 is talking to the actual personalities. It's less about the Reggies and the really good CEOs and more about, like, I love the stuff where they talk with the brilliant minds and developers. That's by far my favorite part of E3.
And that's, I think, where the PC Gaming Show definitely shines, because they do spend the time bringing in the makers of the game. Now, with the PC Gaming Show, there's still, I think with PC gaming, there's still definitely the focus on bringing more strategy games, bringing more, like real-time, 4X.
Sure.
It definitely has certain games that you wouldn't really see on consoles. Like Evil Geniuses 2 from Rebellion, Become Dr. Evil again, in case you didn't play the first one.
I must have missed that.
I don't know if Vampire the Masquerade
that looks
2
amazing,
is going to be coming. I would imagine that will be coming on consoles.
They would be foolish not to. That game looks amazing. Oh my god! Like I love Vampire the Masquerade back in the day, and they should definitely. I'd pick that one up.
I never actually played the original. I hear it's incredibly buggy experience.
Yeah, I used to play the RPG back in the day with a bunch of goth kids in high school, and that's kind of got me
who else
into
would you play?
They're the ones who, but that's their target market, right? That's key demographics. So I think they could bring the whole vampire thing back through this game, and it looks really cool. Like just the way they discuss the vampire world and the graphics is amazing. I was like, this looks like a really good Thief or something. Like,
yeah, it's like a world that actually has depth to it.
Yeah.
A world to explore. Alternatively, like the PC has its own indie gaming market. I made you watch a few trailers specifically.
Yes.
Mosaic is one that I found particularly interesting, focusing on a very strong art style, but also like that atmosphere of, like a weird atmosphere of oppression.
Yeah. Very metatextual game. I think they're almost. I'm not sure what they're going for, like a We Happy Few type thing or some type of clearly a lot of dystopian games. I think we're heading into a cyberpunk dystopia in the year 2020, and I think we're gonna see that become a very rising current. At least in this show, it was very indicative. But...
Well, one of the themes of the game, you can kind of see if you download the phone game Blip Blop.
Yeah.
Where if you click the blip button, it collects blops, and then you spend the blops to collect more blips to get. But as you're playing it, an advertisement pops up for its website. Yeah. And then you go to the website, and then it's like, have you found love? Download the love application.
There you go.
Like that idea that technology has kind of usurped all of our, like the humanity aspects of our culture.
Yeah, I don't know if you're up on up on the Black Mirror or if you're up on the Love, Death, and
I'm
Robots,
a little bit behind.
But I think that it's clearly, a year ago I wouldn't have said so, but now I know how addicted to the phone I am, addicted to Pokemon Go. Like, it is just, it's everywhere. It saturates every waking moment of our lives, and there's almost no disconnect unless you're like on an island in a forest somewhere.
Although, to be fair, in regards to Pokemon Go, if there's anything that I've learned from watching the Detective Pikachu movie, it's that the real world is embarrassingly low on Pokemon.
It is.
It has a very, very big underabundance of Pokemon.
We need more of them.
And if there's anything that Pokemon Go does, is it presents the illusion that there are Pokemon. And really, is that so bad?
That's a world I'd like to live in very much. It's much preferred to this one. It's very preferable.
They also showed like some clips of Shenmue 3.
I saw that.
Now,
actually, man. It looks like it came out right after Shenmue 2. They didn't learn anything. That's
like they didn't take any time.
Yeah.
Like they were. That's the thing. You could spend as little money now.
Maybe that's
and make
the selling
a game
point.
That looks like it's 15 years old.
And so
you could walk for, you know how when you play when you watch like the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Let's say you watched it in order of episodes.
Okay.
And you go from episode 3 to episode 4.
Very jarring.
And you're like, wow.
What happened?
What happened?
I think about that though, like, you know, all the kids that waited around for Duke Nukem Forever went out and bought that game. It's gonna be the same thing for Shenmue. I was promised Shenmue 3 and I have to buy this game. Just like Final Fantasy VII Remake, we've been waiting they've been talking about this game for like 10 years.
Yeah, but that game has a budget to it.
That's true.
Shenmue 3 was kickstarted, so there is some reasoning as to why it looks like it's 15 years old, and sounds like it's 15 years old.
It's a cool throwback. I'm actually okay with the Kickstarter again. Like, they brought Toe Jam and Earl back. Like, they've done some very cool stuff with Kickstarter. I don't know if it's the best use of the Kickstarter platform. I think it's more for comics or video games where people don't have any money at all. But I think it's cool that so many cool projects have come out of Kickstarter.
Like the Kickstarter platform should probably be used for somebody who's making like a $10,000 game,
right?
And not
say a several $1 million, $5
million.
Exactly, game. It seems a bit high. Yeah, probably seek private investment for that sort of thing, but. Of course, you could crowdsource anything these days. I mean,
okay. So we stepped out for just a second because I feel that there's something to be said how the PC is no longer that kind of benchmark for high fidelity. Like there was a point in time in which you'd buy a PC and you'd buy the super huge, awesome, like hardware,
like your massive Alienware rig,
so that you could play Crysis 3 on mass settings, so you could play. Like this new game in the shiniest possible version. Yeah. But I feel that as consoles have become that kind of main focus, that benchmark game doesn't really exist anymore. And what the PC really shines for is allowing indie developers to make some really weird shit.
That's true. I'm a bit envious of the PC owners at this point just because they have access to this sort of thing.
So I just had him watch the trailer for Genesis Noir, a detective story about the Big Bang of all things.
Done in like a New Yorker cartoon art style?
Like a very minimalistic art style.
Yeah, very interesting.
Like, how do you sell that to consoles? How do you sell it, say, like, hey, Microsoft, we've got this weird animation, maybe, like, what was the gameplay in that?
I don't even know. Was it just a trailer, or like what was the game? It's so interesting how this year, I think, more than ever before, there were more obscure, divergent art styles in this show. And it just goes to show that, we're in an age where really the more interesting your game appears, the more you can set yourself apart just for pure art style, and people will buy it just for that. We're in an age of sheer aesthetics almost. Like, the gameplay may be secondary to the visuals in some of these cases. Like, I would buy that game strictly on the visuals. I don't know what the gameplay consists of. It could be a typing game. It could be Mavis speaking or Typing of the Dead, and I'd still play it because that looks so peculiar and just interesting. It's just very different. I think it's more about novelty of experience. People want they want something they haven't seen before in a world of people who have done everything and played every type of game.
You say that, and I want to say a couple months ago I played a game. I believe it's called The Textorcist.
Okay.
Imagine a bullet hell game where you're kind of moving around, dodging bullets from enemies, and firing back at them. How do you fire back at them? You type out complete sentences.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, okay, that's awesome. I'm a great typist. All I do is type all day at work. I'm a copywriter, so I write up like 10,000 words a day or something.
But I think that's kind of like hits on what you're saying about how it's the novelty of the experience.
Yeah.
More than it actually is what are you playing.
It's an interesting conceit that like a novel concept will sell your game so much more than any amount of like complex graphics or tech specs. I think it's a good thing as an independent artist and creator.
But don't worry, there's plenty of familiar territory.
There is.
Next time when we talk about Microsoft.